name is Robert Kirunda. I teach and practice law in Kampala, Uganda. I began my career practicing mainly in the transactional space, but along the way, the issues of society drew you in. And so I have litigated a number of human rights and constitutional questions, as well as commercial issues. What for me gets me excited about Draper Hills is because it is an opportunity for me to start thinking about one of the most critical questions that I think people have underrated its impact. And that's where technology and data meet with democracy and elections and things like that. My greatest fancy now is on law and emerging technologies, which is why two friends of mine and I then joined forces to set up the Center for Law and Emerging Technologies at the School of Law at Makerere, which is where I teach. The idea behind the center really is to raise the concerns around responsible adoption of emerging technologies, blockchain, AI, big data. I've been fortunate to be on the National Task Force for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in Uganda. I'm actually the only lawyer there. So talking about regulation and technology and data and how do you regulate these technologies. I genuinely believe that other than maybe medicine, there is no career that is as empowering as being a lawyer. There's only two ways to describe it. First, it's a calling, and secondly, it's power. It's real power. We're the only people in society who can tell politicians, we can tell them off and they won't care. You sit in the law class, you start to think through society differently. So I was in law school at the turn of the century. So I was born in exile. Maybe that's a good place to start. I was born in exile. My parents had to run to exile in 1980 after the botched Ugandan election of 1980. So in the year 2000, I'm in law school, and they're now telling us this is what democracy actually means. This is what constitutionalism is all about. And you start to question all the answers. You start to question the narrative. But the NRM, the National Resistance Movement that had taken power in Uganda at the time, said, look, we are a broad-based government and we don't want political parties because they were the problem in Uganda's history. But then the closer you look, you realize, hang on a second, this is just a one-party state. The thing about that is it awakened a social consciousness within me to say, but that can't be right. Again, you float between beating your path in life and survival and causing change. But as the quality of Uganda's elections degenerated over time, you realize that you have to speak up. And I guess for me, one of the most defining moments was in 2016. So there is a presidential petition in the Supreme Court in Uganda, which is the only court that can hear a petition, much like any other country in the world. And my colleagues at the law school just decide, you know what, let's go and do an amicus. When I was walking into court that day, I was absolutely sure they were going to just chase us away. As it turns out, we actually won. And that then set in motion change with regard to electoral laws in Uganda and how the practices are done and how seriously the Ugandan courts will take elections and things like that. You then realize that a career in law really is more meaningful when you look at social change. When we speak in this country, people take us more seriously than many other professions. And so we are uniquely able to call to order many things that have gone wrong. But we bet on the fact that there's a generational shift happening. So I am the median generation. My parents were the generation that saw war. We are the generation that were either born in exile or lived through the war. The kids that we teach now do not understand the sound of war. What then that resulted into was the court issued an interdict, a structural interdict saying the state has 2 years. The state did not do that. So this time we go to court and we are asking the Supreme Court to declare the Attorney General of the Republic of Uganda in contempt. I will always remember to my grave, hopefully, the day that we argued that application, because I stood before the court and said, in the end, my lord, the question we're asking you to answer is this. If the Attorney General of this country, who is the first member of the bar, defies your orders as the highest court in the land, what should the rest of us do? Then they said to the Attorney General, you have 4 months to put in place these changes. And so we had, as inadequate as they were, we had some changes which probably would not have come if we hadn't pressed further. The future belongs to those who seize the moment. And don't be shy about the change that you see is necessary, no matter the cost. Because most times the opportunity will present itself, seize it, cause the change, and there is no change too small. I take comfort in teaching because I say to myself, one of the kids I teach will be Attorney General someday, and then hopefully the values will have passed on. You can't shake it off. In the quietness of the night, you stare in the dark and say, one day we will be free. One day we will be free.